Yeah. Inside on mine. Just like that curl. Yeah. Woo!
It's Friday. And I'm looking alright, you know what I'm saying? What up, Jenny? What's going on? It is Friday. It's the start of the weekend. And the summertime is blazing. I got some work I got to do. I got some things I got to do, but who doesn't? You know what I'm saying? Who doesn't? We all got work we need to do. It's time to blaze it up. You know what I'm saying? Take a quick little hit. We got a couple things to discuss. Of course, the Supreme Court struck down Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, so we're definitely going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about Donald Trump. We're going to talk a little bit about a couple of other things, you know what I'm saying? But first, what's going on, Andre? Good to have you. But first, we're going to take a hit, you know what I'm saying? Get our minds right. Going to the weekend strong. Y'all got any fun weekend plans? My girlfriend finally moving into her new spot. They've been doing mad renovations in an apartment that she's moving into, so I'm gonna be over there on Sunday. But for the most part, I got a lot of work to do this summer. I got to get my shit together. You know what I'm saying? Dora, what's popping? What's going on? Benny. Oh, you in Denmark. What's going on? Well, I appreciate you for being over here. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for swimming all the way overseas to join us this morning. I don't know if it's the morning time where you at, but it's still the morning time where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? 11:51. So we about 9 minutes away. But if everybody tuning in California, it's a bit early out there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I guess at least the Supreme Court left voting rights a little bit intact. You know, at least they did that. But you know, it definitely comes to absolutely no one's surprise. It comes to absolutely no one's surprise that SCOTUS did what they did. Absolutely nobody. So let's put on some Afro beats, load this bong, take a hit, and get into today's stories. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you got to mow the lawn today. Well, I guess you gonna get a tan. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get an outfit unless it's cloudy or something. You're gonna get you a tan today. I need a tan. I need to go outside and get me a tan. I haven't mowed the lawn in a while. I've been living in apartments. But when I lived, my dad used to make me do pretty much all the yard work. I used to have to cut the grass, clean out the gutters, all that type of stuff growing up. Go cut the grass. I'm like, all right, oh, you burned? Well, I'm there too. Oh, Fritz, we got Fritz in the building. What's going on? Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I just went to the barbershop yesterday. It's amazing what the barber can do, because my dreads right now, I mean, they're decently intact, but like I need to get my actual hair twisted and stuff too. But when you got a fresh cut, you can't really tell. You know what I'm saying? And make it look like fresh cuts just make you look good. You know what I'm saying? Having a nice lineup, a nice taper, that shit just make you look good. A lot of men underestimate the power of just going to the barbershop, man. You'd look a lot better if you just went to the barbershop every now and again. You feel me? We just about there. Give me one moment. It's such a perfect day for Afro beats, isn't it? It's Friday, we getting the weekend started right. All right, now we ready. Let's go ahead and do it. Woo! That was literally perfect. Don't even need to do another one. We just gonna get straight into today's stories. So let's go ahead and pull it up. We're gonna go ahead and start off with the SCOTUS decision for sure. We're gonna start off with SCOTUS striking down Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. So let's get to it. Let me go ahead and open up the screen real quick. One minute. Excuse me. All right, here we go. A couple of Supreme Court decisions that we're gonna go over. Get a quick swig of water real quick, and then we'll get into it. Woo. Are they dancing to the music? Christina, what's going on? Oh yeah, we always got good music in here, you know what I'm saying? We always gonna have good music on these morning streams, each and every time. Music is truly one of the best things of life. I really think that music is one of the greatest gifts of being a human being. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the greatest gifts that we have, because other animals, they utilize it to a certain degree, but like we just seem to be able to enjoy music purely for the dopamine rush. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a great thing. So let's get into this now. Because one of the things that we have been covering, and one of the things that everybody knew, was that Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, that would have been, if it passed, which it didn't, that would have been his trademark accomplishment. That would have been the policy win that he could effectively tout to the country, because it would have impacted millions and millions of people. $10 to $20,000 in student loan relief definitely would have added money to a lot of people's pockets to put into the economy. Now, obviously, we still have to do something about the way that higher education is funded and how it's paid for. Otherwise, the debt's just going to continue to accrue. But now that this hasn't passed, Biden's likely to just be like, oh, it's because of Republicans. But we'll read a couple of things about that, because he could still take action. But the bottom line is that our system as a whole needs overhaul. So tens of millions of borrowers will resume monthly student loan payments after the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 on Friday that President Biden's loan forgiveness plan is unconstitutional. Borrowers who qualify for the relief plan would have been forgiven for loans up to $10,000 for individual borrowers who make under $125,000 per year, or $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients. A lot of people, there's pros and cons, ups and downs to everything. At the end of the day, still, especially depending on what your field is, just having a degree, just having a bachelor's degree does in fact make it a lot easier to just get jobs. Even if it's not in your field, you're much more likely to get hired. So there's still the pro with that. Obviously, the student loan debt that comes along with it is a minus. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, our education, it annoys me when people say stuff like getting an education is a waste of time. Like, no, it's not. Take it from somebody who only has a high school diploma. No, it's not. I'm lucky that I have other things going on, so I can still make a way. But so this is a huge issue. Student loan debt relief had been blocked by court orders and had been put on hold since November, months after the program's launch in August. Many borrowers had said the relief would help them financially plan for their futures. The issue was divided among party lines. Many Democrat lawmakers previously said eliminating debt was in the best overall interest of the economy, whereas Republicans who drove the lawsuits criticized the program as a bailout for the wealthy. a bailout for the wealthy. I mean, obviously, we know that the Republican establishment overwhelmingly, even harder than the corporate Democrats, is all about making life easier for the wealthy. But wealthy people don't get student loans, and there's no need to. Why pay that back? And even if they did, like it's a ridiculous, stupid argument. Um. So yeah. And to even Chuck Schumer, he wanted to eliminate $50,000 up to $50,000 in student loan relief. So Biden's plan really wasn't even that hard line, to where you had people like Chuck Schumer who wanted to go further. The conservative majority Supreme Court ruled that the federal government exceeded its authority with the relief plan. Quote, under the government's reading of the HEROES Act, the secretary would enjoy virtually unlimited power to rewrite the Education Act, Chief Justice John Roberts wrote in the majority opinion. U.S. Solicitor General Elizabeth Preliger had said during oral arguments earlier this year that the plan's legality fell under the HEROES Act of 2003. The Higher Education Relief Opportunities for Students Act grants the Secretary of Education power to waive or modify financial assistance programs as deemed necessary through a national emergency. Both former President and Biden used the statute to pause student loan payments since the outset of the COVID pandemic. So, Biden definitely can utilize the HEROES Act to go further. But again, we just need system overhaul. Our education system. I mean, even if you were to not talk about how it's funded and how it's really unaffordable, our education system as a whole just really doesn't prepare young adults for the modern or the future job market. It just doesn't. So there's so many different issues that need to be addressed outside of just student loans. Where was I? Okay. About 26 million people out of more than 40 million eligible borrowers applied for student loan cancellation or had already provided enough information to the education department to be deemed eligible. A Texas court struck down the Biden administration's plan in November. The Justice Department filed an emergency injunction in November asking the Supreme Court to lift the blocks on the relief plan. So it's just been a huge back and forth for the most part. The rulings deals a major blow to Biden's commitment to borrowers and potential cornerstone of his legacy as he seeks his second presidential term. Absolutely, and I think that's kind of, especially in terms of the presidential election, this definitely makes Biden more of a hard sale. Now, luckily, I guess when it comes to the Democratic side, when it comes to what the Democrats need to win right now, luckily for them, the Republican Party continues to be a complete and utter, just horrendous disaster. So the choice kind of still comes down to them not being nuts. But now Biden's just not going to have as much powerful of a track record to talk about to people. It'll be more technical things that everybody ain't thinking about, like the CHIPS Act and stuff. That's definitely good for the country, but it's not something that's really going to hit home for everybody necessarily. Student loan debt, millions and millions of people would have felt that. Last summer, the administration began a three-part plan in August to help working and middle-class borrowers transition back to regular payments after pandemic-related support expired. The plan included 1. Student loan repayment pause. 2. Providing targeted debt relief of low to middle income families. 3. Making the student loan system more manageable for current and future borrowers. Next, we're going to talk about this, another Supreme Court decision that was handed down today. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a calling card and a policy agenda for people running for House and Senate seats, and also definitely people running for state and local elections. This will continue to be a huge issue. And again, importantly, we also need to be talking about how we can actually restructure the system as a whole. Otherwise, even if we erased all the debt right now, it'll just pile right back on. So there's a lot of work to be done. And let's not waste too much of our energy on the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? Let's focus on let's focus on the right things. All right, now another Supreme Court decision today. Supreme Court rules businesses can refuse service to LGBTQ customers. All right. Businesses can refuse to serve same sex couples if doing so would violate the owner's religious beliefs, the Supreme Court ruled on Friday. The court has significantly expanded LGBTQ rights over the past several years, but is now carving out some exceptions. The case concerns Lori Smith, a Colorado web designer who wanted to create and sell wedding websites, but not to same sex couples. Colorado's civil rights law prohibited her or any business that serves the general public from turning away customers because of their sexual orientation. She said complying with that law would force her to espouse views she does not agree with. Quote, the artwork that I create is speech. Smith told Colorado Public Health in December, adding that, quote, those messages must be consistent with my convictions. I mean, in terms of the implications of this would definitely open the doors for discrimination. But at the same time, I think an interesting thing that's going on in the country right now is there's like a huge distinction being drawn between blue and red states, and a lot of competition going on in terms of, due to a lot of policies being passed. Come on over where the grass is greener, where the water's finer, type of deal. So, I mean, most people who aren't like really hyper politicized, they're not going to turn down a same sex couple because they want to make the money. You know what I'm saying? So while this is definitely unsurprising that the Supreme Court would do this, and it does open the gates for discrimination at the same time, people can just go to another cake shop. People can just get, you know what I'm saying? Like people can just go somewhere else. And that isn't really good for your reputation. You know what I mean? So this is like, okay, big whoop de doo win for like evangelical Christians or whatever. But at the same time, it's like with each one of these decisions that the court passes, they're, the Supreme Court, along with just this general ideology, is becoming more disliked throughout the country. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just a bunch of nonsense. It's like, okay, have your way, but the country has moved on in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? You can't. There's too much toothpaste out of the bottle. The cat's out of the bag. You can't take society back to a time where, you know, uh, the queer community wasn't as accepted. Like that, you can't do it. So it's kind of like you guys are just a bunch of sore losers. This is like lost cause type of shit. You know what I'm saying? All right. The conservative majority Supreme Court ruled 6-3 in favor of Smith, saying she has a First Amendment right to refuse to design custom wedding websites for same sex couples. The First Amendment envisions the United States as a rich and complex place where all persons are free to think and speak as they wish, not as the government demands. Colorado cannot deny that promise consistent with the First Amendment, Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote in the majority opinion. The opportunity to think for ourselves and to express those thoughts freely is among our most cherished liberties and part of what keeps our republic strong. All of us will encounter ideas we consider unattractive, Gorsuch wrote, but added that tolerance, not coercion, is our nation's answer. All right. So, again, I mean, this is just going to make blue states more attractive. You know, it just is. And for the most part, um, I mean, red states more and more just becoming places where their future is looking dim. Justice Sonia Sodom, and this is in the dissent. Um, Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote that, quote, there has been a backlash to the movement for liberty and equality for gender and sexual minorities. New forms of inclusion have been met with reactionary exclusion. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And they gonna go down kicking and screaming, but at the end of the day, the cat's out of the bag. The majority of the country, especially younger generations, millennials, Gen Z, ain't tripping about nobody being gay or trans. Like people really, it's just like, what, okay, they're just people who do what they do, just like me and just like everybody else. So you really can't erase that sentiment. The immediate symbolic effect of the decision is to mark gays and lesbians for second class status, Sotomayor added in the dissent, which was joined by Justices Elena Kagan and Ketanji Brown Jackson. Sotomayor added that the ruling conveyed a message that, quote, we live in a society with social castes. and warned that the underpinning logic of the decision could extend beyond sexual orientation or gender identity. Absolutely. But I mean, in terms of this, like the Supreme Court, they've been doing this, so they're just kind of like they're just chopping stuff up. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is, whatever it is that they really ain't feeling too much, they just chopping it up. So that's what they got going on right now. The decision threatens to allow. This is another quote: allow the exclusion of other groups from many services. And again, it's like, yeah, that is true. That is true. However, eh, Black people and Asian people and Latinos and gays and lesbians and whatever can go somewhere else. You feel me? So it's like you really just shooting yourself in the foot with this. But in terms of the bigger implications, Jesus Christ, man, these people are so ridiculous. Hey, hey. All right, what we gonna get into next? I love, is this shit working? I don't know if the chat not working or something, but if I can't, this shit ain't moved in a minute. If y'all saying I can't even really see it. If y'all, I can't see. It look like the chat thing ain't working for real. But it's streaming, so we good. We gonna keep it going. All right, this came up yesterday. Koch network raises $70 million to push to sink Trump. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me see. Give me one moment. All right, this came up. Uh, okay, I put a J. I put a J in the chat because I put a J in the chat to see if I could see it, and I can't. So yeah, all right. So everything working, but for whatever reason on my end, like I just looked on my phone on the stream. For whatever reason on my end, I can't see what's going on in the chat, but everything else is working. But yeah, that's why I put J in there. That's why I did it. But we just gonna keep on. All right, Koch network raises over $70 million for push to sink Trump. But yeah, I use a platform called Be Live. A lot of the time, people don't stream directly from YouTube. Like you can, but YouTube doesn't allow you to like do screen share and like a bunch of other stuff. You feel me? So like, I people typically use other platforms, so sometimes there's just technical issues. The stream working, but I can't see what y'all saying. But it's all good. Koch network raises over $70 million for push to sink Trump. Americans for Prosperity Action is wading into a Republican presidential primary for the first time and waiting to see which candidate it will get behind for 2024. The political network established by the conservative industrial. Yo, they trying to get Trump out of here. But the base ain't having it though. This is hilarious. The political network established by the conservative industrialists Charles and David Koch has raised more than $70 million for political races as it looks to help Republicans move past Donald J. Trump, according to an official. 70 million. With some of this large sum to start, the network, Americans for Prosperity Action, plans the Koch network. We're all for Americans for Prosperity. Plans to throw its weight into the GOP presidential nominating contest for the first time in its nearly 20-year history. The network spent nearly $500 million supporting Republican candidates and conservative policies in the 2020 election cycle alone. Man, there is so much money that gets spent. Oh my man, so much money gets spent just openly in our system. And it's nothing. It's legal. It's whatever. You feel me? And that's another thing the Supreme Court recently did. They made it easier for it was something to do with like the loan limit that campaigns can give themselves that opens up the doors for like just further corruption because people can owe you more money than they could before. So like there was a limit on how much money could be owed through a certain type of loan that was not nicked. So now basically people can funnel money to themselves to their own campaign more simply. It's something along those lines. That's basically the general scheme of how it worked. Erasing a loan limit. The my bad. Here we go. Two groups closely affiliated with Charles Koch contributed $50 million of the more than $70 million that has been raised. David Koch died of cancer in 2019. Mr. Koch is a major shareholder in Koch Industries, which contributed $25 million to Americans for Prosperity Action, according to the preliminary draft of Federal Election Commission filings. Another $25 million was donated by Stand Together, a nonprofit he founded. The Koch network's goal in the 2024 presidential primaries. Hold on, one sec. My bad. I just changed a little setting on his mic. Mr. Koch is a major shareholder. Okay, I just read that. The Koch network's goal in the 2024 presidential primaries, which has been described only indirectly in written internal communications, is to stop Mr. Trump from winning the Republican nomination. That's the only goal. I mean, the Republican Party's already screwed anyway. It's too late. You know what I'm saying? It's too late. Y'all are already a mess and a disaster. Okay, so basically that's their whole goal. They're raising a whole lot of money to try to keep Donald Trump from staying out of office. But at the end of the day, independents and swing voters are likely not to vote for him anyway. And Donald Trump, the Republican base don't give a damn. They don't care. Okay, we'll keep our eyes on it. There's really not much more to say. I don't want to read all of this simply because it's like the main objective. Okay, we get it. They don't want Trump in office, but at the end of the day, what matters is the base and the voters. So we'll keep our eyes on that. We got a funny clip of Joe Biden just walking off a set. But first, we're gonna go over this to revisit the student loan cancellation being struck down. Biden can cancel student debt even if the Supreme Court blocks order, advocates say. Supreme Court ruling on Biden debt relief expected this week. Oh, my bad. I don't need to read that. This is just some of the things that goes and what they could do. And we talked about it some in the last article with the HEROES Act and what Biden can use the HEROES Act basically. Okay, so we already discussed that then. Yeah, he could use the HEROES Act to basically declare a national emergency and erase it. But like we talked about before, our entire education system needs an overhaul. I'm gonna save. Hold on, no, I'm gonna save Joe Biden walking off set for last because we only got a couple more articles, but I'm gonna say that for last. This dude, Joe Biden, it was the middle of the interview. It was like, I can't remember the name of the woman who was interviewing him, but like she was closing it out. So he was supposed to just, sit there and wait for her to close it out. But he just like got up and like slowly just like walked off camera. Shit was hilarious. All right. DeSantis says he would abolish 4 federal agencies as president, including the Education Department and the IRS, because who needs the Education Department? Speaking of everything that we just went over, about how our education system as a whole really doesn't generally prepare young adults to compete and function in the modern job market or the future job market. It doesn't address the fact that people typically don't stay in one place for 10, 20, 30 years anymore. People often have 1 or 2 or 3 jobs at a time. Those jobs often can be really good jobs. People stay in a place for 1 or 3 years, then they leave. People are contracted. There's a lot of opportunities in the trades. There's so many different things that our education system really doesn't properly address, on top of how much everything costs for a higher education. But this definitely isn't something that's unique to Ron DeSantis. Republicans are talking about stuff like this. Who needs the education department? What was the dude's name? The former governor of Texas. I can't think of his name, but he was running for president at some point. He was in some debate and he was like, oops. I can't remember his name, but he was talking about eliminating the education department. Mitt Romney type people too. The Florida governor said that if Congress wouldn't work with him on shuttering the agencies, he would use them to fight, quote, woke ideology. This dude is such a he's just lame. He's just lame. Like, he ain't got it. Like, this dude woke ideology. Like, bro, don't nobody care about that. Not for real. Like, people may like gripe and whine about it online, but when it comes to people actually showing up to the polls, it ain't gonna be for stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. Florida Governor Ron include. Let me just read because there's just too much to say about Ron DeSantis. I'll just be ranting forever. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is claiming that if he was elected president, he would want to, quote, reduce the size and scope of government by eliminating 4 federal agencies. Speaking with Fox News' Martha McCollum, the Republican presidential candidate said that his administration would seek to abolish the Department of Education, the Department of Commerce, the Department of Energy, and the IRS. Yeah, all 4 of those being incredibly important agencies, obviously. The Department of Education, abolishing that would basically make it so that education wouldn't be monitored on any type of federal level, which would greatly increase inequality in this country automatically because it would just set up the rich get richer, poor get poorer with less restraints. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then the Department of Commerce, the Department of Commerce and the IRS. What would getting rid of that do? Make it easier for really rich people to hide their money and rip everybody off and commit fraud and scam everybody. In the Department of Energy, obviously, that's incredibly important because we need to be pushing towards cleaner and different kinds of energy sources more aggressively. So all of this is ridiculous. Quote, well, let me take a swig because it's Ron DeSantis voice time. If Congress will work with me on doing that. Oh, no, he probably said it more like this. If Congress will work with me on doing that, we'll be able to reduce the size and scope of government, DeSantis said. If Congress won't go that far, I'm going to use those agencies to push back against woke ideology and against the leftism that we see creeping into all institutions of American life. Okay, way to say absolutely nothing. He's so stupid. We need to fundamentally reconstitutionalize the government, DeSantis also asserted. We talked about draining the swamp in 2016. That didn't happen. I think the better analogy is breaking the swamp. Actually, no, it's not at all. Drain the swamp sounds much better than break the swamp. Just off just general things, because drain and liquid go together more than break and liquid. You break solids, you don't really break liquids. I mean, I know that's like really minute and like stupid, but just in terms of like, no, that just on that level, that doesn't sound better. Like, what are you talking about? This dude sucks. DeSantis has previously called the IRS a quote corrupt organization while appearing on the Dana show, where he was asked by host Dana Loesch if he'd seek to abolish it. The answer is yes, DeSantis said in May. We need something totally different. And I'm sure he didn't dive into what that totally different means at all because with Republicans, it's always just get rid of the government and let people do their thing. In other words, I don't know, just get rid of the government. That's it. I would be welcoming to take this tax system, chuck it out the window, and do something that's more favorable to the average folks. Okay, so in that case, if you ain't talking about raising taxes on corporations and the super wealthy, doing something about capital gains, if you ain't talking about doing anything like that, then man, this dude. But luckily for everybody, he really sucks at this. As NBC News noted, citing government spending data, the current fiscal year budgets for the Commerce, Energy, and Education departments were $109 billion, $160 billion, and $194 billion, respectively. The IRS has cut close to 20% of its staff since 2010. And what does that do? When you cut your staff, what does that do in the IRS? It makes it more difficult to audit people who have a lot of money, because people who have a lot of money can put that money into a lot of things. It's more difficult. When you aren't super wealthy, you probably just make a paycheck here and there. Maybe you do something on the side, but it ain't that much. So it's easy to look at what you got coming through. You feel me? No, we want to cut IRS staff because we want the average little man to be audited less. As previously reported, DeSantis officially entered the 2024 presidential race back in May, confirming longtime rumors that was priming himself to earn the Republican Party's nomination as a chief rival to former President Donald Trump. DeSantis and Trump have built similar bases. Okay, so who is this who says this? Trump's business friend. Okay, these are just quotes and stuff. But yeah, so yeah, you know, who needs it? What was it? He wants to get in there and eliminate the Department of Education, the Department of Commerce, the Department of Energy, and the Internal Revenue Service. Because who needs it? You know what I'm saying? Who needs any of that stuff? Who cares? You know? Speaking of the sanctity, tape, mouth, machine. What is going on? DeSantis relentlessly mocked with photoshopped images as green screen beach pic resurfaces. Yes, let us mock DeSantis. Let's just look at the pictures. As an Iraq veteran and current officer in the U.S. Navy Reserve, Ron understands the needs of our vets. Oh, that was Casey who said that. I'm sorry, Casey. I thought that was a Ron DeSantis quote. That was your husband's voice. Casey DeSantis, quote, a man of integrity and honor. Okay, so I guess people saw that and then they just took the page. Here we go. Hold on, where was it? Because it was something like where they was like, where are the footprints in the background? And then they just put them in random places. Here they in like some type of prison or something. Some dystopian future. Oh, that's pretty fitting, isn't it? Okay, so there's just a couple of pictures or whatever. But now we can get into the last thing, because Joe Biden, he went on to MSNBC. He went on to MSNBC and just walked off set all goofy. He's like, "Oh, Joe, you should have just waited like 20 more seconds and it would have been all right." Come on, Jack. Bidenomics, baby. Hold on, let me get down to the video. Show the video. Where is it? I might have to reload the page or something. Here we go. Here it is.
Well, and the ones that didn't vote for your bills but run on them.
That's right.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate
it's great to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. It's a very exciting day around here. We'll have reaction and analysis to everything we just heard.
He's so Joe Biden. Like, bro, you could have just sat there for a couple more seconds. He's like, all right, gotta run. His diaper was leaking, so he had to get up. Oh, we gonna get on this slow Wi-Fi today. That's what we're gonna be on right now. He just got up and was like, all right, time to go. Oh,
well, and the ones that didn't vote for your bills but run on them.
That's right.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Nicole.
much.
I appreciate
it's great to have you. It's
Thank
great
you.
to have
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. It's a very exciting day around here. We'll have reaction and analysis to everything we just heard.
That boy had to run to the toilet. He heard an ice cream truck outside. That boy heard an ice cream truck outside. He said, hold on. Let's get out of here. Get my chocolate ice cream.
Well, and the ones that didn't vote for your bills but run on them.
That's right.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Nicole, I
much.
appreciate
it's great to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. It's a very exciting day around here. We'll have reaction and analysis to everything we just heard.
This country is so funny, man. We got Joe Biden in office. A man who don't know what the hell going on. A guy who just gets up and walks off in the middle of an interview just awkwardly. A guy who's always has a million gaffes. We got Donald Trump, who's the king of the right wing in this country. We got people like Andrew Tate, who are still looked up upon by many a young man throughout the world. But that concludes today's stream. We had a fun, quick stream, you know what I'm saying? We're going to take a quick little hit of the ganja, you know what I'm saying? And then this upcoming Wednesday, we're going to have another episode of Lock Talk. Except we ain't going to wing it this time. You know, the first time we did it, we wanted to go ahead and come out and just get the ball rolling, see how it felt. And it went pretty well. So now we can get more sophisticated and just, you know, start to build. So like always, and again, my chat right now is not working from my view. So I double checked it. So I can't see what y'all saying, but I appreciate each and every one of y'all for always showing love and supporting. And we going places. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that I'm most looking forward to is us really doing some, you know, taking some initiative out here and getting some shit done in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Being leaders in our community, helping to get people elected into office. Not just that, but raising money for different types of things. You know what I'm saying? Helping to put a spotlight on the issues that are important and the people who are doing big things in communities out here. So I'm definitely looking forward to all of that. And we always have a good time here too. But outside of these streams, now we got a weekly show on Wednesday nights. Lock Talk that I'm doing with my boy Kamal. Got the membership program coming probably in about a week or two or so. I'll have it up and running. I'd like for, you know, the audience and everybody who supports me and supports us to help us to produce the show and be a part of everything that we got going on. You know, help us to decide and bring people, help us decide who we should interview, different topics we should cover, different things happening that we should put a spotlight on, different things we should become a part of, you know what I'm saying? All of that. So now, again, the chat broke, so I can't see what today it is. The chat, I can't see it, but I'm sure y'all showing love like always. So let's go ahead and take this hit, and then we're going to go ahead and get to the rest of the day. I'm doing it. Yeah. I hope y'all out there smoking. Dora, I know you done said cheers a couple of times. You always right on time with it if you still in there. If I missed, again, I hate that my chat ain't working right now because we always kicking it, but I can't, you know, technical difficulties from time to time, ain't no thing. But as always, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. For real. Woo. All right. All right. Y'all have a fantastic afternoon and a great weekend. I might stream this weekend. I don't know. But if not, I'll definitely be back Monday. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all as always. Y'all be safe out here. You have a good time. Have a good time this weekend.